Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Growth Path. Today we have a new guest on and somebody that I've been speaking to often enough, I would say. Probably not often enough, but very often. Is Morgan Ingram. Morgan, welcome, mate.
Thank you for the welcoming and also thanks for having me on. Excited.
Sure, sure, man. Let's go through some of Morgan's history, right? So myself and Morgan know each other probably about 5 years at this point. Can you believe? There you
Wow.
go. Since my
It's
day,
like,
yeah,
that's true. I'm
yeah.
like, that's crazy.
Since those lead feeder days when we used to do all those webinars together,
Yeah.
and the webinars we used to drive thousands of people to those webinars. You can check them out on YouTube. Morgan was given top tips on how to do outbound, so he ran an outbound session with us for our audience back then. But ever since then, I've been following Morgan across LinkedIn. If you're not following Morgan, I would probably be surprised given the audience here because he has 185,000 followers. On top of that, Morgan started his career as a seller, as an SDR, has worked at on the tech side, for example, with Terminus, based out of Atlanta. He's also then gone on to be a sales coach, worked for JB Sales, and then from there on in, he's gone and set up his own business, and where he's now with Amp Social. But on top of that, he also works with a number of different tech companies, advising them on content. And now he's helping all via Amp. He's now making sure that sellers know how to sell online and socially, and that's also working together with founders to make sure that they have the right content on the right channels and applicable to their audience and not boring. I think that's the most important thing. Um, uh, yeah, man. So look, tell us a little bit about what you're doing at AMP.
Yeah. So the main focus and the mission that we have is how to be more human in an AI driven world. That's the main focus. Everyone right now is dealing with AI slop, AI messages. We help that make more human. And the way we do that in the mechanism is through LinkedIn, so social selling, sales, etc. But also, how do you actually have a conversation in person as well? So that's like the main focus we have is really driving pipeline through that LinkedIn avenue and doing it through sales coaching and sales acceleration programs that we built.
Awesome, man. And how's it go? When did you start? You started. I'm just looking at my notes here. You started like 2.5 years ago, right?
I started AMP 2.5 years ago. Just like with any business, what you start with is not what you end up with.
Mm.
So the first year actually was me testing out being a full-time influencer. I actually was a full-time creator for the first year, and I wanted to see how that felt. I personally did not like it. And there's multiple reasons why. I would go into it if we want to, but it wasn't for me. Then we went into production. I wanted to do that, wasn't the right route. Now we went to okay, let's just focus on education and focusing on elevating people in the time right now where you need to be more human and you need to stand out. And how ultimately at the end of the day can you be more human in that? And that's now our main focus. And my main commitment is being the face and the voice of that for LinkedIn selling and how do you be innovative. So that's like the main mission and driven mission that we have now.
All right, man. Super stuff. Super stuff. I remember us talking early on when you first started the business. I remember us having a chat about it. We were just catching up,
Yeah.
and I remember you going out on the influencer journey, and it's interesting which way things take you, isn't it?
It is, and I think the thing is that like I wanted to do something completely different that I had done in the past 5 6 years. It was I knew that I could easily go and do more coaching and more things, and but I really just wanted to try out something different based on what I saw at the time and the information that I had, and then over time as you learn certain things, you make those adjustments to the market and you go from there. So it's just part of the journey, and it's just what happens.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. It's just how it goes, man. It's never a straight path, right?
No, that's
Like
the thing. People will try to tell you that it is, but it is not. I'll tell you that right now.
fucking liars.
I know
Liars
they're
is
all
what they
liars.
call
They're
it. They
deceiving
are,
us.
man.
They're
It's
deceiving us.
like anybody that pretends, like I follow some people on LinkedIn and they make it sound so easy, you know? And I look at it, or they make it sound you just need to do these 2 to 3 things, and then it's like this is gonna end up in success for you. It's like,
Those are outliers though. There are some people, yeah, they do some stuff and it works really well for them. But the two core examples I always like looking at to remind myself that like this is just a journey. Um, I think it's Lamborghini, I think. Did you know they started off as like a tractor company?
Yeah, Italian tractor company. Yeah,
That's insane. So it's just like,
yeah.
I don't think they imagined to be one of a top tier car brands. Most people listening probably don't know that, but like that always gives me inspo to be like, hey, like wherever you start with doesn't end up where you're at. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm gonna mention this person because he's gotten a lot of buzz because of what he just did with his book launch. But I think Alex Hormozi is a good example of this. And I know some people think he's like to work and not anything personal. And that's not what I'm trying to bring up. I'm just bringing up his journey. Like for the first 2 years, 3 years, I think of his entrepreneur journey, he lost everything twice and
Mm-hmm.
didn't learn what to do until that third year. So I'm mentioning all that because like there are massive examples of people who are successful that face a lot of failures. And if you're gonna see anything, like failures are just going to happen. And it's part of a byproduct if you're venturing in somewhere in the unknown. But the only thing that will prevent you from not being successful is quitting. So my whole thing is like we just don't quit. We learn what we need to learn and we move forward. And it's going to be a great story to tell at the end of the day. So at least on the entrepreneurship side, that's how I think about things.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to try things, see what hits, see what doesn't. It's always funny, like the stuff that you think is going to work well doesn't, and the stuff you don't even think about is the stuff that does. You know, that's
I know.
there's
It's
no
wild.
rhyme. There's no rhyme or reason to it, right? But
There isn't.
no, but let's talk about something that's very interesting and topical at the moment, right? We have I think this is probably going to take up the rest of this episode. Let's talk a little bit about our good old friend LinkedIn. So for the past years, like all of our business, my business, whatever, has come mostly through the network that I've built on LinkedIn. And there was like some really good years when things were really up and up. When we first got to know each other, I think LinkedIn was in its glory days. I think that was
It was.
there was valuable content on there. You could actually learn something. LinkedIn were prioritizing posts that were able to add
Yep.
content to people or add value to people, sorry. And now, like I'm talking to people where LinkedIn has basically put them out of business because they're just completely tanking all of their engagement, all of
Yep.
their impressions, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you're not, you've got 180,000, whatever, 185,000 followers, right? I've seen posts of yours like I remember days when like you put up a post and within 20 seconds it'd be like the engagement
No,
would be crazy.
I
And
know.
just out of interest today when I was looking at it, I seen one of your posts and you'd posted it, I don't know, 20 minutes beforehand, 30 minutes beforehand, and it had like a handful of likes and comments. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because surely you've got a network of 185,000 people that want to receive your content and they're
Yeah.
clearly not.
Yeah. So I'm going to be very direct and transparent with everyone in this conversation, just so you know. I'm not going to hold any punches in what I'm about to say. And I'm going to tell you what people want to say, but they probably don't because their business generates on LinkedIn. So they're going to tell you everything's great. I'm just going to tell you what's happening. And that's what I've always done since the beginning. So the thing is, yes, I feel frustrated when I post something that's actually good, and I know it's good because I've been doing it for a while. It's not theory. Like I've been doing it for 9 years, so like I know it's going to hit or not, and I have data to prove that. And then it doesn't because like of how things are working on LinkedIn that are ongoing changes that they're moving so fast that I might not know. So yes, it is frustrating for someone like myself, and it's frustrating for other people that I know who've been creating for a long time, and they're facing the same thing. So the first thing is I always look at this first, as in, am I the only one going through this? I'm not. There's other people that are also going through the same thing where they post something and get like 20 likes and they have 400,000 followers. That doesn't that doesn't make any sense if we really want to break this down, right? So it is frustrating because yeah, back in the day I could post something that would go nuts and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And like I guess there's two agrees like we probably didn't know how long that would last.
Mm.
I guess jokes on us, but also I don't like to think about things in the past that I can't control. So I'm gonna start there as yes, it is frustrating. However, when things are frustrating, I always try to identify what is actually working and what can I do to be better and how can I adjust to those changes. And I know this just based on the data, and even though I see it today, I'm like, man, like this is just so interesting how things have changed. I've actually found that like when I'm sharing something personal, like I don't know, pickleball or about like my journey or my faith, those do extremely well.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. So I've also been, as I look at the data, I think people are just looking for people just to be real about what they're going through and resonate with that. I don't know if it's because people don't want to be educated as much as they used to. And they really just want to know who you are personally rather than maybe even the education itself. This is just something I'm seeing in the data, right? This is just me speaking data. So what I recommend people do right now, and like what's my main focus until it goes back to normal or whatever happens, is how can I just be more personal with my audience and share what's genuinely going on and what's going on more about me. And then I've been just focusing on like how can I be super niche in what I share. Anytime I share something on Sales Navigator, people absolutely love it. So again, things that I didn't think that people would care about that deeply. People love the sales nav stuff. So now I've been focusing more on that and getting more niche there and getting more pointed. I think that's just the main thing with LinkedIn is that you have to show a little bit more, actually, way more of your personality than normal, and finding what actually hits and then sticking to those. And I found, okay, Sales Nav has been the piece on that. It's just different because I can't just post whatever. I have to be a lot more strategic based on how the relevancy scale of LinkedIn works.
Yeah, I don't think you ever posted whatever though. I think the content that you posted was always valuable. I don't think you were
Okay, what
just
I mean by whatever, okay, let me
mm,
clarify that. What I mean by whatever is like I maybe didn't do it by day. It was like, okay, I'm
mm,
just gonna do this type of post within this broad topic. I'm what I'm saying by being more strategic now is like I'm like, okay, on Monday I have to post this type of thing because it's actually working on this type of day at this time,
okay.
right? I've
Yeah.
never been this prescriptive before because I just think things are just changing. So good clarification point. I don't think it was whatever, as in like, let me tell you how I ate applesauce today. But I'm just saying
Mhm,
it's just like I think I have to be more strategic in the way that I approach the content than I was before for whatever
mhm,
reasons that may be happening. But that's just something I've just realized over time. It's
mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I spoke with somebody else. I don't know if you know Alexander Lowe. I think we may. He does social selling training. We've done it together before, but he um he was telling me that that basically he knows quite a few people on the inside of LinkedIn as well, and he was mentioning that they're trying to make it make it more relevant to a younger audience. So
Yeah.
what is it, Gen Z or
Gen
what's
Z.
it? Gen
I did
Z,
hear
yeah,
this.
yeah, which would make sense in terms of what you were saying, like the personal stuff, like that's what people do on Instagram, right? So you see stuff that would perform on Instagram, you see it performing on LinkedIn. I don't know if that's the beginning of the end for LinkedIn though. With
I think
that,
that's a terrible move.
yeah,
I've
I
seen this in
agree.
other places. I think it's the worst move possible because that doesn't make sense. Like it's like if Starbucks was like, you know what, we're actually not going to sell coffee anymore, and we're only going to sell alcohol. That would make no sense. Nobody would go to
Mm,
Starbucks. They'd be like, what's the
yeah.
point of this? Like that's what LinkedIn's doing. You have an audience of senior decision makers and no other platform that they're going to but here, which means that you have the weight of the influence of money on the platform. And you should cater more towards those people. TikTok and Instagram already has the Gen Zs. Why are you trying to get Gen Z? And guess what? It doesn't even matter marketing wise that you would market to Gen Zs because at some point they have to figure out how to get a job. So you don't need to market to them. They're going to come to you. You don't need to
Mm,
go to them. So that's
mm,
why I don't understand the narrative and the vision of it because it will make people like I personally won't quit, but I know people who want to quit and probably will quit because it's not catered towards what they did in the past where it was very educational tactical content. That was proven already to work, by the way. It's not that this is like brand new information. So I'm saying all that as in like it's just adjusting to where they're at. I've adjusted to just be like, I have to be more personal with people, and that's what hits. That's what hits. If I'm very, very tactical, it doesn't hit as much as maybe it used to. It's very interesting.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. It's like it's annoying. Like for me personally, I try to keep personal life and business life separate, right? I
Of
don't.
course.
I I'm not a fan of. It drives me nuts when I see people like pushing their kids in front of a camera for LinkedIn. Like that drives me fucking nuts.
That's a
Like
lot.
it's too much. Like I spoke with a friend of mine this week, and he's relatively well known. That's all I'm going to say. But they also have a family, and he knows that if he did more with his family, it would explode, right? However, it's it's definitely not something he'd ever do because once you open that box, you can't close it, and then in a couple of years' time, like the kids have come back, they know what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
Like you're not fooling anyone. You know,
No, I don't like it.
you know, it's just you're putting your children to set like your intention is not good. I can't find any road to say the intention is a very good intention here, other than you're using your kid to sell.
Yeah. The thing is, I also don't have kids, so I don't even want to go that route, and people don't
Yeah,
come at me. But I understand the sentiment 100%.
now I get it. All right. So look, what's next for you, man?
I think the biggest thing right now is, like I said, I have a big commitment to really change the way people look at LinkedIn and sell and go about it based on how they change it or whatever it might be, right? But the big thing for me is how to showcase to truly use LinkedIn the right way, but also as well, like how to be more innovative in the way you do outbound. So my whole entire commitment is to be the face and the voice of that as I continuously work with clients and even have a partnership with LinkedIn on their sales navigator side. That's the biggest thing for me. And tactically, what that means is continuously working with the clients to make sure they see the results they're looking for, and also running like webinars and in-person events so people could be educated. I feel like right now is just a very, I mean, past years it's been hard, but I think it's harder now than probably than most people feel, because there's like you have to get intent signals, you have to use the tech, etc. I'm trying to make it a simple way for people to connect in the right way so they can feel like they're actually doing something and moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's creativity for the win, right? Like that's it's the boring stuff is what loses. Similar, like in I think B2B has gotten to a place now where we're almost similar to B2C.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned like a luxury car brand like Lamborghini. They've got cool, sexy advertising, cool, sexy brand. B typically never had that.
I mean, that's
You
never
know,
happening. That's not
no,
happening.
like B2B up until this point, up until recently was always like, okay, you need to be boring. You can't be an exciting brand. If you are, then that's not good for business, you know? But then I look at companies like Gong. I see them as really like a company that like they really rode the wave early on in terms of being a bit edgier,
They did.
and
They
it paid
maximized
off.
it for sure. They maximized it.
Paid off massively. Like, what are some of the? I don't know if you want to mention this here. So, what are some of the brands that impressed you in B two B?
You know, I like Vanta. I
Mm-hmm.
just like their brand. I like the llama, and like they're in like a very technical space, but they've made it cool. Like I wouldn't think that they were a cybersecurity company. I'm actually the company I always think about is Vanta. I think there's a lot of companies I could mention that have done well, but maybe the way they go about things now is different. So different conversation. Vanta to me, I would lead as the number one that typically stays in my head. I think they just do a really good job of showing up, showing out. Here's what we're doing, etc. I'd say Notion does a really good job of always being creative and doing things differently. So I would shout them out. So those are like two brands immediately that come to mind that I've seen that I think that do a good job of standing out and being creative. I don't do as much work with them anymore, but I enjoyed working with Cognism because I really think they did a really good job on the creative content, and they're always trying to do something out of the box. And I enjoyed working with them for the few years that I did. So those are three brands that immediately come to mind. I know people probably have other examples, but those are the core ones for me.
Cognism were punching above their weight for so long in that space.
Yeah, just the
Now
content market
they're
is crazy.
unbelievable. What Alice did there,
Yeah,
like I remember talking to Alice years ago. So Alice is the CMO there. People, just for our listeners, and she is doing like an unbelievable job there in terms of building the brand. And of course, the team are very strong. But I remember talking to her early on. We used to catch up every now and again, and this is maybe shit like 5, 6 years ago or something. And she was like, "Oh, I went to James, who's the CEO, and I asked him for a budget because I want to try grow brand. Nobody's focusing on brand, and I want to try it. I want to give me 10K, and I want to play with it." And he was like, "If you can make the 10K work and do something with it, then maybe we might invest some more." And that's where it started. And then kaboom, she built a rocket ship.
it went
Like,
crazy. It went crazy. Yeah, working with them was a ton of fun, and just to see that growth was crazy. So, shout out to them.
yeah, especially in that space, you're operating against players like Zoom Info, like Apollo. Speaking of Apollo, they were completely booted off of LinkedIn as a side note.
Yeah, that's a whole wild thing. I think that also, and that's also interesting because they got completely booted off LinkedIn. Now it's like, okay, what are they gonna do next? So that's interesting.
That is interesting. Speaking to go back to the LinkedIn topic, by the way, I know we're jumping around a little bit. Are you advising any other channels to get into? Because I've been looking around, and like we've talked about this before as well in the past. Like Twitter, or as it was known as then, X now. Like you have Reddit, you have my mind's gone blank. What's the name of the one where you can write articles and so on?
Talking about like Substack.
Substack. Yeah,
Yeah,
like people. I see more and more people getting onto Substack. Like, are you? You're very close to it, man. Are you yourself doing anything there? Anything additional? Are you
yeah.
advising anything additional?
I think the answer is going to depend on what you're selling, what you're trying to do. So if you're someone like me that's a creator and things of that nature, like yes, you're going to dabble on that. Like I'm on X, I'm obviously on LinkedIn. I haven't done Substack yet, but it is something I'm going to probably explore and check out. Like why not? I think at the end of the day, though, LinkedIn is one of those things where even if the content isn't there, at least we can still DM people. At least we can have a strategy to have a conversation at the minimum, right? X is just a lot harder, I think, at the end of the day, because there's a lot of anonymous people. So sometimes you don't even know who you're talking to. And I think Twitter and X has been harder for people to grasp just based on who's running it, right? Just put it clear. Some people either love Elon or hate him. So like, let's just be honest. So I think that's changed people's perception on it. And whether you leave that or not, Substack, I don't know it as well. I don't know what the DM structure is there or how to set like I don't know what the structure is there, but I'm assuming it's more writing than what I've seen. So my thing is like I think those additional channels are always good to test and add, but it still comes down to the core of where are people living and where they're at. They're still on LinkedIn. I can identify people by their job title and by their industry, and it's way easier for me to do that on that platform than the other ones. So until that changes, until there's someone who comes along and takes all the LinkedIn users, LinkedIn is going to be the place to be, whether we like it or not. I don't see anytime soon another platform just taking all the users of LinkedIn. I don't foresee that, right? It's going to take a lot for someone to do that. And I think people think that's easy. Like, that's not an easy thing to do to get billions of users over to a new platform. And they've been building that for decades and decades. It's just hard conceptually. So that's why I say, hey, if you're doing any type of selling, you want to do some social selling, you want to get active, I would be focusing your energy on LinkedIn, even though it's a downslide right now in terms of content and things of that nature. It will change. It has to change because
Yeah.
if people start to leave and they're not doing those things, they're just going to go back to normals. And this has actually happened across every single social platform, which is why like I can be frustrated, but I'm not like leaving per se because I've just seen this before.
Yeah, you're right. You're dead right. Stay on the course, ride the wave, see what happens. It's our only real option right now, right?
Right. It's like you could say I'm out and quit, but it's like if the people are here, you might as well figure out how to maximize it. Like my thing has just been, well, instead of just selling people, which people have been doing and sitting out AI automated messages, why don't we just give them an invite to something else? I call this linked out. So right now I'm actually linking out right now. And what that means is I'm getting people to like my own ecosystem and environment, or what do we like to call is URL to IRL. I'm bringing people to in real life experiences. And that doesn't have to be in person. It's just virtual events and in-person events. I'm doing both. So I'm just trying to create actually depth of relationship and connection while everyone is frustrated. I'm actually upping the amount of DMs and connections that I'm trying to make, knowing that a lot of people are upset and frustrated. That's fine. Hey, come to this webinar I have, come to this in-person event I have, and now I'm building a deeper connection. And when it comes back to normal, I'm still going to build those deep connections. So that's just something for everybody to think about.
Yeah, man. And on that note, we'll call it a day.
All right.
Morgan, where can people find you, buddy?
Well, the obvious, LinkedIn,
So Substack, Twitter.
Substack to be soon. I haven't posted in a while, but there is some really good stuff on YouTube that I've done. They're like deeper dives about LinkedIn. If you really want to know like how I think and what I'm doing, like it's way, way, way more in depth. So you can check that out. And then yeah, just follow the posts, engage, and we have webinars coming up every month. So definitely go check those out.
Amazing stuff, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on and having a chat. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure we'll speak again soon. Thanks, buddy.
We will. Cheers.
Cheers. Guys, this has been another episode of Growth Path. Tune in again next week for more great content. Cheers, Morgan.